Welcome to the Nick and Ryan podcast. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Nick. Today we're going to be talking about why Terrell Owens should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, or why he shouldn't have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, or if he should even be in the Hall of Fame at all. We're also going to be joined by our special guest, Callum.
What's up, guys?
So Ryan, do you think T.O. should have been in the Hall of Fame at all, or should he have been a first ballot Hall of Famer? What do you think?
I think he should have been in the conversation eventually, not necessarily first ballot, but he's on his third ballot now, I think.
Yeah.
And I think he should have been in the conversation coming up now at least, but I'm not sure whether he has all of his stats coming up here are amazing, obviously, his receiving yards and things like that, but his off the field not necessarily antics, which would have been with police or something like that, but off the field activities in the locker room kind of throw an argument against that, I guess.
Okay. Callum, what do you think?
Well, Ryan does have a point about off-field antics, but they're in the bylaws of the Hall of Fame or the NFL Hall of Fame. It states that players shall not be judged on their off-field antics. So in that case, I think that Terrell should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, of course. His numbers speak for himself. The Hall of Fame clearly has a bylaw that says you're not gonna players aren't judged based off what their off the field issues are. A Hall of Famer should be judged off how well they performed on the field, and clearly by Terrell Owens' stats, he's top 5 in everything, touchdowns, receiving yards, and his total number of receptions.
Yeah, but it's hard for someone who the committee of who picks the Hall of Famers. It's hard for them just to be okay, we're only gonna regardless what he did off the field, regardless of any of that, we're only gonna look at his stats and his individual stats of what he did as a player individually, and not anything that happened off the field. In the bylaws, obviously, it does say that they're not supposed to do that, but it's really hard for someone who's picking a Hall of Famer just to be just looking at a page full of numbers trying to pick a Hall of Famer. You really got to look at the type of player he was as an all-round player, which isn't just on the field. It includes everything that he did off the field, the person he was in front of the media, the person he was to his teammates, things like that. It's hard to put that out of the back of your mind when you're trying to pick a Hall of Famer.
Yes, I mean, you have a point, but for example, Tom Brady, who is arguably the best quarterback of all time, once he's being put up for first ballot, people aren't going to look at the fact that he, people say supposedly deflated the balls, but he wouldn't have been suspended for half a season if there wasn't actual proof that he had something to do with it. But people aren't going to look at that when he's up for first ballot. He's most definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame because of his stats.
Yeah, exactly. When if one of the Hall of Fame voters looks on the page and sees Tom Brady, he's not going to think twice about should I put him in or not. He knows what Tom Brady's greatness is and knows what he did on the field. And he's not really he's not even gonna weigh in any of this so-called Spygate or Deflategate that the Patriots and he's been a part of. So why should Terrell Owens be judged off some of the things that happened in the locker room? But why should that affect why he's even in the why should that affect his play on the field and why he should be in the Hall of Fame at all?
I don't know, comparing to Tom Brady for Terrell Owens, it's just the Tom Brady thing was this one time thing that was I still think it was alleged. Obviously, yeah, he did get suspended, so there was some juice to that or whatever. But I just think that he's altogether when he's off the field, he's not when you see him talk to the media. I don't think he's a horrible person. He doesn't. He's him and his teammates have great relationships. Actually, with Terrell Owens, with 3 teams of San Francisco, with Philadelphia, and with Dallas, all 3 teams said that he was on the field. He's a great performer. Obviously, he's a very talented athlete, but in the room, the team couldn't perform with someone who was tearing a room apart like that. I don't know, it's hard to ignore what he did in the dressing room to the teams that he was with.
Yeah, but a player like Brett Favre, he had some off the field issues actually. Had a problem with a reporter during his career, and they never looked twice at his career like that and put him in the Hall of Fame because of his statistics and what he did on the field as a player. And I agree with you, but like that's an ethical issue here. Like the Hall of Fame voters should really take that in consideration and change the bylaw if they want to start putting people's like off the field issues into what makes a Hall of Famer or not. Because then I'd completely understand if you want to have some arguments against like Terrell Owens, but at the moment, what it stands is the bylaw is what it is. So Terrell Owens was one of the greatest receivers to ever play this game, and he's not first ballot, or he's waiting a long time to get into the Hall of Fame at all.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that in your first point, that the NFL really should take into consideration the bylaws of their Hall of Fame choosing process, because I feel like basing who's going to go in the Hall of Fame based on their individual stats and not who they were as a person, who they were as a player, like how they were to their teammates, what their personality was like. Those things are really important to who you were as a athlete in a professional like sport, and that it really should be taken into consideration, because your individual stats aren't always like the number one factor on whether you should go into the Hall of Fame or not, in my opinion.
Okay, we're going to be right back after this commercial break with Callum, and during the commercial we will have some opinions of some other analysts from our network explaining what their opinion is on this issue.
There is no doubt in my mind that Terrell Owens should be in the Hall of Fame. Statistically speaking, he is the second best wide receiver to ever play the game. Now I know off the field he was fairly deviant, like celebrating on teams' logos and taking time away from the team. However, this should not matter. The Hall of Fame recognizes the best players on the field, and he was without a doubt one of them. When talking about Terrell Owens as a Hall of Famer, we have to put aside his antics. If we do this, we will be able to recognize the great wide receiver Terrell Owens in the Hall of Fame.
Terrell Owens should not only have been in the Hall of Fame today, he should have been in the Hall of Fame yesterday. Terrell Owens is a first ballot Hall of Famer with top 10 in passing touchdowns caught, receiving yards, and catches. The man was a machine when he played. Now, if you look at the off-the-field stuff, his character issues, yeah, he had some problems. But it's not the Hall of who was very nice. It's the Hall of Fame. And it matters what happens when you play on the field. I get it. Terrell Owens might not have been the greatest guy. He had a lot of problems. He had drug issues. He had issues with his teammates and the Eagles especially. Very well documented, and with the Cowboys as well. But that's not the point. The point is he's a great player. Players make the Hall of Fame, not characters. If you look at everyone else gets in the Hall of Fame. It's about their numbers. And just because they're nice people does not mean they should be in the Hall of Fame before Terrell Owens. As one of the probably top 5 greatest receivers of all time, he should be in the Hall of Fame the first time he's on the ballot, and should be in the Hall of Fame the next ballot comes up. But unfortunately, that's not the way the voters work. But if it were up to me, Terrell Owens would be in the Hall of Fame today.
Thank you, Michael and Connor, for your opinions. And we're back now. For now, what we're going to be discussing is, so Randy Moss is actually coming up on his first ballot Hall of Fame vote for like this coming up year, or this year right now. And he's basically like neck and neck with statistics of Terrell Owens. So what do you think? How should he be judged for the Hall of Fame?
Well, yeah, the stats are the same, and so arguably they should both be in the Hall of Fame. But he's going to be first ballot, or Randy Moss is going to be first ballot. But he also had much worse off-field antics than T.O. did. Like, probably the worst incident being him, like, hitting/bumping a traffic cop with his car, getting arrested, and then also having possession of marijuana. Then just a bunch of other things that happened with his career. But once again, I don't think that should change anything. If anything, T.O. should go in first, and then Randy Moss should go in right after him, because their stats speak for themselves. They're both two of the greatest.
You think Randy Moss should just be in this year and not have to wait any other years like Terrell Owens did?
He should have to wait, but T.O. should get in before him, if anything.
Yeah, I don't think it would be fair for Terrell Owens. Like, I don't think it would be fair towards him if, like, Randy Moss was put in the Hall of Fame on a first ballot when the opinion against them both going in would be the same. Yeah. How Terrell is getting kind of like, I don't know, kind of screwed on the deal there, because, like, okay, let's say he gets put in on his 4th ballot or his 3rd ballot or whatever. It's still not fair that Randy Moss was treated differently in the Hall of Fame choosing process.
I completely understand that with what you guys are saying, but at the end of the day, like the way it should be looked at is should be looked off statistics and how Randy Moss performed on the field, and he was again one of the greatest all time. So, like, yes, I guess it should be, like, if you want to technically look at it, it should be fair that Randy should have to wait just like Terrell did, but at the end of the day, we should just let the past be the past, and Randy should just get in, and Terrell Owens should just get in with him. I guess it is a little unfair that this would be that Terrell would be getting in this year on his third ballot, and Randy would be getting in on his first ballot. But at the same time, I guess the past should just be the past and get over it, and have Randy be in just off his stats and not have anything to look at that. Because again, yeah, Randy technically did have worse issues than Terrell did. So if anything, you should technically, the Hall of Fame voters, to be fair, should be looking at that too. But that just shows like another indictment to the Hall of Fame voters. If they vote Randy in now as a first ballot, and they didn't vote Terrell Owens 3 years ago as a first ballot Hall of Famer, then it just shows how kind of hypocritical they are and how unethical in a sense they really are, because Randy had actual off the field issues, and he also had a famous quote saying, "I play when I want to." And if you always looked at Terrell Owens, he gave it his all every game, every night. He never took a play, a snap, never took time off. He always performed at his highest level. So that's just like another indictment to Hall of Fame voters.
Argument for both sides. All right, well, we're out of time for today. Thanks for tuning in to Nick and Ryan's podcast. Thanks, Colin, for joining us. Same with Michael and Connor. See you next time.